We are heading to the championship rounds. Going into the championship round. This is it now, championship rounds.
Honestly, just want to say like big thanks for doing this. I know you don't have to do it like these days. You're on the MMA Hour, an MMA junkie and things like that. So it's good to see you on all those platforms. But like, I just really appreciate you taking the time.
It's no problem. It's everybody's got to start off somewhere.
Yeah, man. So you're on all these platforms now, MMA junkie, Ariel Hawani, things like that. How are you dealing with like all of this like new exposure you're getting? Are you getting used to it, or is it still a bit surreal sometimes?
I always thought I was getting used to it. You know what I mean? Like I always remember back in the days of Cage Warriors, and thinking, oh wow, I've got a lot of hype at the minute. But if I'm completely honest, since I'm in the UFC, it's like it's that times 10. You know what I mean? It's unreal, and obviously I've gone through a lot of hard work in my life, and I do feel like I deserve this the recognition now, and it's nice to finally get it.
You certainly are. I mean, you're 15-0 now. Like, I always thought this should have come along a lot sooner for you. I don't know why it's taken them so long to wake up and realise, but I'm glad they're starting to listen.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I wouldn't have changed it for the world. I will be honest. I look back when I was like 6-7-0 on like the Cage Warriors circuit, and I'd always wonder like what I'd have to do to get there.
Yeah.
I thought I'm 6-7-0. I didn't fight. I fought good opposition. Don't get me wrong, I wasn't the best at that time before Cage Warriors. But then, I did that tournament. I got to 9-0. Then I fought the best guy in Cage Warriors with a 10-0. Then I went out to the States and tried out a different company in the States. I fought Ryle Watson, an ex-UFC veteran. I fought Anthony Gutierrez, who was 7-1 at the time and was the next guy in line of the belt. And I beat him. And then like obviously a load of injuries, and like I hit probably the worst point in my career. I hit that little dip when I was 12-0. I'd injured my shoulder. I had shoulder surgery. I hadn't fought for a year. I thought, well, it felt like it was coming to the end of the story, and then one phone call changes your life, and you're back onto it.
Yeah, man, and ever since, like all this exposure you're getting. And I like to see that you're still staying true to your roots. Like you got your book coming out in the Welsh language. You're flying the flag wherever you go. It's pretty safe to say you're a really proud Welshman. Like how important is it to you that you get the opportunity to represent Wales on a world stage like the UFC? Because I'd say at the moment, you're at the forefront of Welsh MMA. You're the face of Welsh MMA.
Yeah, It was always a big thing for me to obviously keep my Welsh. My mother was a single parent growing up in the game, and she had a choice to make. And my mother's not Welsh speaking. She does try her best, all fairness to her, but she put me and my younger brother into Welsh school. And at the time, don't get me wrong, as a youngster, you kind of think, oh, yeah, I can speak Welsh, but you kind of take it for granted, But now it's opened up a lot of opportunities for me with the Welsh TV channel, with S4C, with and obviously the English stuff was coming naturally anyway, the BBC and stuff. But it's an absolute privilege, like, to speak Welsh, in my opinion, and I want to try and give something back, just a little bit. So doing the Welsh book for me was just the starting things. At the end of the day, the Welsh language is a language that's slowly dying out, and I want to do everything I can to kind of bring it back and to be very strong. I always speak to my friends, my family, and the ones that don't speak Welsh, and they just wish they could, and I want to be that guy that's kind of changing that. I got a lot of things, I got a lot of fingers in different pies. Fighting is just one thing for me. I have loads of other things that I want to do, and when I retire from fighting, I'm still going to be busy, and it's just I'm looking forward to seeing what the future holds.
Yeah, man, that's what I love to see. I love to see fighters thinking about what they're going to do with their career, after fighting's over. And just on your book, is that book going to be out in English at all, or is this strictly to try and influence people to pick up the Welsh language?
Yeah, Yeah, that's exactly what it is. You know, I spoke to Earl Olva, who's the book company who's taking it on, and they wanted us to do it to kind of the Welsh government have had like basically a bit of a grant to try and better the Welsh language by 2050. I think they said they were aiming for 500,000 Welsh speakers in Wales by 2050. You know, so the book is only in Welsh. They did say, though, depending on sales, depending on how the book went in Welsh, that they'd potentially bring it out in English. Like, don't get me wrong, I know full well that book would probably sell better if it was in English. But, like, my main ambition is to help that Welsh language first, you know what I mean? Like, that will come another time, you know, and eventually, yes, another book coming out in the next 2 to 3 years in English, yeah, I definitely see that happening. And I definitely see that a bigger hit now. But like I said, you know, I love my language. I love actually everything about the language, and that's what I'm trying to better, you know?
Yeah, I love that, man. Like, you know, with this book, you're not driven by, you know, the money or the sales. It is strictly to, you know, to benefit Wales. I love that, man. And, you know, you're known for carrying, like, the army of, you know, Welsh behind you whenever you fight. And it seems like the sport's sort of transcending in Wales at the moment. Like, can you feel, you know, how fast Welsh MMA is growing, and is there an advantage to you to have all this support behind you, or does it put a lot of pressure on your shoulders when you see all those Welshmen turn up to watch you fight?
Yeah, it's weird. It's a crazy feeling. Pressure. There's always pressure. I have days of pressure. You know, I have days where I'm thinking, wow, there's a weight of a nation on my shoulders, and I'll have days where I'm like, well, you know, at the end of the day, I can only do as best as I can, you know what I mean? I can go in there and try my hardest. At the end of the day, I tell my teammates this. I can go in there and give 100% and still lose, but I give it 100%. And I just want people to be, you know, I guess for everybody else now, it's like winning is just the main thing. Winning and getting that belt. I mean, the first Welsh mixed martial arts world champion. Yes, that's what I'm aiming for, full stop, you know, but it's a weird thing, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, I would love people just to prefer, no matter what result I did, I want Welsh people to look at me and think, you know what, that boy gives it his all. And I genuinely believe that, though. I genuinely believe that if I do that, no matter what the result is. That's what I say about people like, you know, like Jack Marshman. Like, you can watch, you know, Jack's, you know, results in UFC, and he's fought the best guys in the world. He's come up short once or twice, you know. But everybody loves him because he wears that like pride on his sleeve, you know. And I feel and I love that. I love that about the nation, you know what I mean? Like, what absolutely kills me is that it's a British mentality that people want to see you do well. You start doing well, then people want to see you lose. And I hate that about that British mentality. That's why I love fighting in that's why I love fighting in places like Vegas and places like America and stuff, because of win, lose or draw. You're an absolute legend for getting in there, and that's what I want Wales to be like. I want people to be so positive about the sport. Win, lose or draw, you're still like a warrior for walking in there and doing something about it, you know. And you know, I feel like now that as a nation we're getting more knowledgeable to the sport. We know different positions, you know. We know what's also good. I remember watching Cage Wars in Newport and just seeing how educated the crowd was in different positions. Like, you look at the crowd and someone would be on the floor and they'd be tangled up, and any other person would be like, what's going on there? But it seems like the Welsh MMA fans, like they study, they know the game, and they watch and they know what's good and they know what's bad, and that's great to see, because that was, when I first started, that was never there. It was just two men in a cage fighting, and that's all it was.
When I first started getting into MMA when I was younger, I couldn't find a single person around that was a fellow fan. But lately, like the other week, I was down at listening to a Chris Coleman, you know, the Wales manager, doing an event, and he mentioned Jack Shaw, and suddenly the entire room, everyone was talking about Jack Shaw. I couldn't believe how many people knew so much about mixed martial arts around you now. So, with MMA in Wales growing at the moment, do you think we're almost ready for that first ever UFC event in Wales? And what would it mean to you to, you know, fight on that event?
Oh yeah, that, you know, it's no secret. I always say the blueprint for me, right? There's one blueprint for me, and that is to follow the similar footsteps to Joe Calzaghe, a guy in his own game that dominated, who was Welsh, who was proud to be Welsh. He fought Bernard Hopkins in Vegas. Don't get me wrong, I didn't fight in the MGM or whatever he fought, but I fought in Vegas. It was something I wanted to do for the simple reason that Vegas was the next step for me. I wanted to tick it off my list. I got to do it. Now, the next step for me is New York. I'd love to do New York. Calzaghe beat Roy Jones Jr. in the Madison Square Garden. I watched that fight live. I loved that fight. What a door for coming back and getting dropped in the first round as well. That just shows how well fighting him. And then my last one was when Joe. It was a couple of fights before the end for Joe, but he fought Mikael Kessler in the Millennium Stadium in Cardiff, and I've got that DVD in the house, and I can't stop watching that DVD for the simple reason the amount of support there. Enzo McAnally was on the card. I know Enzo very well, and he was on the card. I think he was either defending or fighting for his WBO title. It was just things like that, and I want to follow similar footsteps. So I look at them pops that time, and I get envious. I get so envious. So yeah, the idea of maybe a show coming to Cardiff, I'm not sure where they would do it, but that idea of maybe I'm one in Cardiff, it excites me, and I want it to happen, and I want to be the guy to main event on it. I want to be the guy who's the main Welsh attraction on the card. Of course I do. It's a dream come true for me, I always used to watch these guys on TV, these UFC athletes. Well, now I'm in the mix. I'm there with the best, I'm fighting. I'm now coming to that point where I'm slipping into the top 10 in the world. I want to fight the best guys I can. And, I just got to keep going step by step. And eventually I will get that Cardiff shout out or whatever they do in Wales. It doesn't matter to me, As long as I'm on Welsh soil, it does not matter to me where I fight. As long as they put a UFC in Wales, that would be nice to be involved and be the guy that kind of like, obviously me, Jack and John now are there. It would be nice to be one of them three guys to actually bring that UFC to Wales.
Yeah, man. I mean, I feel that event would, I don't think they realise how big that would be here. I mean, you get so many people from Wales travelling up to London and Glasgow whenever they do events up there. It would, they could sell out. I'm not sure what arena they do it in because I think the Motor Point's a bit small. And then there's stadiums which are too big. So if they could find the right arena, then I think it could, it could really be, it could be huge here.
Yeah, I know that, I remember an event before, it was Paige Van Sant, she was fighting on a smaller show. I think the attendance was something like 3,000 people. So it depends on what card they want to put forward to the UFC. But yeah, it's no secret we lack in that, we lack in the stadiums and in the arenas. Like in America, they're everywhere, you know what I mean? Like even the Park Theatre in Monte Carlo in Vegas, that was a good little venue for a fight, that was, But there wasn't many people there, but it was still a good venue for the fight. Yeah,
I think, like you said, I think it could probably work in the Motor Point, but then they'd have to, suffer on attendance. But again, it for a fight night, I think it'd work fine. So hopefully we see that in the next couple of years.
Yeah, I fought in that Motor Point twice. I actually won my first ever world title in that place. And I want to. It'd be nice to go there, but instead of putting the yellow Cage Warriors gloves on, which I absolutely love doing, it'd be nice to put the UFC ones on there, and it would be absolutely bonkers, especially with the three Welsh guys we got now. And I bet it's soon to be 4 or 5, you know what I mean? There's a lot of good talent coming into the UFC, but what I don't understand is the SSE Hydro Arena in Scotland was an amazing venue. I walked out into that crowd, it was unreal. It was an unreal feeling. It felt like I was fighting back home. The Scottish really got behind me for that fight. But we forget that there's only 3 to 4 Scottish representatives in the UFC. We got 3 Welshmen, you know what I mean? And I see it being... I don't see it... I think a lot of people think that UFC Wales thing is miles away. I really don't see it being that far away, honestly. I just see it being a bit like... It's going to take a couple more people to get on the show. Someone who can fill the Welsh card up, and yeah, we'll get there. We are the last nation to really take the MMA scene on. I look at places like Scotland, Ireland, England. These guys are taking the sport on before us. They've got a head start, but we are picking the sport up so quickly.
I've been to the Cage Warriors in Newport, and the fans there are absolutely crazy. So definitely got the makings for this UFC event. But you said you're fighting the top guys in the world now. I think you're 15-0. I think you're 14th ranked bantamweight in the UFC at the moment. I mean,
at the moment, Rob Font knocked on our made a few fights ago, and now he's put me to 14th. I was 13th.
Yeah.
But that still though, at the end of the day, I'll be fighting soon enough. You know what I mean? So I'll be going back in there and working on the ranking. And like I said, I don't care about being 13th, 14th, 10th. At the end of the day, for me, it's to be number one. And my next step is to fight whoever they put in front of me. I'm hoping for a top 10 opponent. Only for the simple reason that if I beat that guy, I want to kind of creep into that top 10 mark. You know what I mean? And it'd be nice to see who they're going to give me next.
Yeah, man. I was going to say that. I mean, for me, the bantamweight division is one of the best talent pools there are in the UFC. I mean, you've got TJ, obviously, Cody, Cruz, but then there's names like Lineker and Dodson along the way. The stand, between you and the title picture at the moment. Does that level of competition, is this something that motivates you rather than, makes you doubt yourself at all? Is that something that just inspires you, seeing those big names?
Yeah, no, it's very inspiring, That's exactly what I once did, Like when I was in Moldova watching the football when they announced me and Joe Soto. Joe Soto was a title challenger. Don't get me wrong, it was under different circumstances that he got that shot, but the shot of the belt, but it didn't bother me. It was still Joe Soto. He was a former Bellator world champion. He fought for the UFC title. Well, that was a big test to me. And looking back at the fight, I always say this. I was, obviously, don't get me wrong. I was a candidate for submission of the year, and I was happy with that. But in my head, I didn't gain a lot of experience in that fight, and that seems to be my. I don't know. I wasn't too happy with the fight because of that reason that I didn't get much experience, But now we're getting to the top 15. I'm looking at everybody in that list, and like it's weird. See, because I look through the list, I go down the list, and I think he's good, he's good, he's good, he's good, all the way down to that 15th mark. Yeah. So for me now, it doesn't matter. Generally, I have my hand on my heart. It doesn't matter who I fight next. It really doesn't. For the simple reason that I want to get to the top. I'm going to have to fight every single one of them anyway. So I don't care if I fight the ranked 14th guy first, or if I got to fight the ranked 8th guy first, or I got to fight the ranked 3rd guy in my next fight. It doesn't bother me, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, I truly see myself as one of the best in that division. It sounds cliche, but none of them fighters think like me. It's weird, I watch a fight and I can read a fight very well. I can read like a book, which is ironic because I can't read a book very well. It's just one of them things though for me that I truly believe that these are the best fighters in the world, and athletically they're gifted, but it's all about the brain, and I feel like I got that, and we'll see what they want to give us the next fight now, and I'm hoping it's going to be someone in the top 10. That's what I want. We'll go from there.
I know you're a humble guy, and MMA is one fight at a time, but do you honestly visualize a run for the title and making that history? I remember after the fight you told DC, you spoke to Daniel Cormier, you told him you were coming for the title. Do you really honestly visualize yourself lifting that title?
Well, it's like I wouldn't be in this sport right now if I didn't. It was for me. It's really weird. I was a guy that lacked a lot of self-confidence as a kid. I lost a lot of things. I lost a lot of sports, whether it was rugby, whether it was football, whether it was judo, whether it was jiu-jitsu. I lost more than anybody. I probably lost more than everybody in that top 15. My experience with losing, though, I've had, and I guess you get this added pressure when you're undefeated. You gotta people are gonna see you lose, and there's added pressure. But for me, it's never been that. It's never been that pressure. You know what I mean? The pressure for me is not getting that gold belt. That is the pressure for me. I was a two-time world champion before getting to the UFC. I tell people all the time, I got 4 belts which I fought for, which I give blood, sweat and tears in. I got 4 belts. I hold one in my right hand, I hold one in my left hand, I hold the 2 on my shoulders. I got space for 1 more on my waist. And that's the one I'm keeping. That's the UFC one I want, and to be a 3-time world champion in this game would be absolutely tremendous. And not only that, for 3 different promotions, that's huge. To be in a world champion in one promotion. I remember fighting on cage. I was thinking, it's not going to get much better than this. And then literally a year and a half later, I won a title. I won an American-based organisation called Titan FC, who have got a stable of fighters, good fighters up and coming. I won a world title and I fought a UFC veteran and choked him out in the second round. You know, my next step is a UFC title. It's weird, see, because like for me it was every fight at a time. It was every fight at a time. And now we get into 15-0. You know, there's only so many times I can keep fighting at a time, you know. And look, I want to fight for that belt. I truly meant what I said to DC. I wasn't one of them things where I joke about it, where I'm like, I want to fight for that. Look, it was no post-fight adrenaline. It's truly how I feel. And I feel like I will fight for that belt. You know what I mean? I want to fight for that belt. You know, like for example, like I know it sounds really petty, but like, TJ fought Wild Watson, went 3 rounds, beat him by a decision. Nearly got choked out in the 3rd round. I beat that guy in 2 rounds. Yeah? And then TJ fought Joe Soto. Don't get me wrong, it was on 30 hours notice, yeah? He fought Joe Soto, who wasn't a ranked opponent in the UFC. He went 5 rounds with him. Like, why shouldn't I look at them top guys and think, yeah, I could do well against them? Why shouldn't I? I pull the results out of the bag, so why can't I look at the top of the division and think, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I could fight for that belt. You know, if someone offered me, you know, it depends. Obviously, you'd have to rely on weight. If someone said to me, Brett, you're fighting TJ in 3 weeks, I'd fight TJ in 3 weeks. It wouldn't bother me, you know. It's don't get me wrong, I'd be a lot better in 6 weeks, or I'd be a lot better in 6 months. But I'm afraid if I no man, you know, and you know, I'm not afraid to lose my record. You know, I'm here for my family, my friends, you know, and I'm looking to change their life, and that's what I'm willing to do.
Awesome, man. I mean, you know, 15-0. I don't think they can. I don't think you spend too much more time on the undercards. I think a record like that, you know, is deserving of some main event, co-main event slots. So, honestly,
I think so as well. I do think so. I think that's the next step for me. Some main events, some co-main event slots. You know, I've done my fair share. My first 2 fights fighting on that undercard. You know, the prelims, the fight past prelim. I'm okay. I was okay with that. They checked me on the main card for Vegas. You know, they tried to see if I was going to sink or swim. I swam, and now I see, like, you know, co-main event slots, main event slots, and I'm happy, and that's a step closer to my end goal about having the Welsh MMA show.
Yeah, definitely, man. Well, honestly, I'm hoping to see you in that title picture, and once again, mate, thank you so much for speaking to me. Honestly, mate, thank you. This is it's meant a lot to me. This has.
No problem at all. Thank you.
All right, speak to you again, brother.
Yeah, I think this one, right?
Ta-ra, man.
All right, ta-ra.